Hi, this is Ishita Datta, a legal intern at Lexis & Company, and today I will be talking about the topic which is marrying your rapist and if it's a compromise in rape cases. Recently, a Supreme Court bench headed by Chief Justice of India S.S. Bobde asked a rape accused to marry her victim, and the accused, who is a state government employee, is facing charges for repeatedly raping his relatives when she was a minor. So the Apex Court was hearing a petition against an order of the Bombay High Court setting aside a Sessions Court order granting anticipatory bail to the accused, and this is not the first instance when a court has tried to compromise a rape case. It is often seen that high courts or session courts try to compound rape cases by marriage between the victim and the accused, and section 320 of the CRPC provides provision for this type of compounding or compromise in the cases. Compounding of offence means to establish a compromise between the parties, and in this the victim receives some other compensation or gratification, and it is not necessarily pecuniary to the act, and it abstains from prosecuting the wrongdoer. Section 320 provides two categories of offences. First, which can be compounded without the permission of the court, and second is where the permission of the court is required for compromise. Offence of rape does not find mentioned under any of these categories for which high courts use their power for compounding rape cases, which is provided under section 482 of the CRPC. The superior courts often allow or suggest compromise which reduce the punishment or even acquit the accused for the sake of justice. This happens especially in the cases where the accused offers to marry the victim or they have already been married. So now I will be talking about the case laws with a similar approach. So due to some problematic decisions of courts in rape cases, it has become a kind of common notion that the accused can be acquitted or his punishment can be reduced in the case of compromise between the victim and the offender. In Saju PR versus State of Kerala, a Supreme Court bench quashed a rape lawsuit on the basis of a settlement between the accused and the survivor for doing full justice to the parties concerned. In the case of Baldev Singh versus State of Punjab, the trial court awarded a 10-year sentence to rape accused, considering the fact that the incident took place 14 years earlier, and the accused had already spent 3.5 years in jail, after which the accused and the complainant married, not to each other of course, and reached a compromise after that. Considering the peculiar circumstances of the case, the Apex Court reduced the sentence to the period already undergone. The Delhi High Court also acquitted a rape accused on the pretext of marrying the victim and reduced the sentence to the time which he had already served in the case of Rahul versus State of NCT Delhi. In the Dalbir Singh and others versus State of Punjab, the charges for rape were quashed by the Punjab and Haryana High Court because of the case had been compromised and the victim was married to one of the accused. And in MD Jahirulal Maulana versus State of Assam, the Guwahati High Court quashed case against a rape offender who married the victim, stating that the probability of conviction is less due to the parties compromised and married each other. In the shocking case of V. Mohan versus State of Madras High Court suggested that the rape victim needs to solve the matter by mediation, and the judge stated that such ADR methods are now used in criminal trials as well, and that such forms of dispute resolution can be observed in Hinduism, Islam and Christianity. So now what is the correct position of law? There are many cases in which the courts choose compounding approach to solve the rape cases and allowed the marriage of the victim and accused. However, there are plethora of other cases in which Honorable Court criticized this kind of approach and reflected the correct position of law in this regard. It was clearly stated by a 3-judge bench in the case of Shimbu and another versus State of Haryana that rape is a non-compoundable offence, and it is just not a matter against the victim but the whole society. The crime of the rape should not be quashed on the basis of compromise between the victim and the perpetrator, considering the fact that the consent of victim in this situation is not absolutely free but is affected by trauma or helplessness. The accused can also use force against the victim to marry her so that the prosecution can be quashed. Therefore, courts should avoid to use their discretionary power on the basis of compromise between the rape victim and the accused. The same views were expressed by the Delhi High Court in the case of Ananda DV versus State and another, and the Apex Court observed in this case that in Gyan Singh versus State of Punjab, if the parties have entered into settlement and it has become clear that there are no chances of conviction, there is no illegality in the quashing the proceedings under section 482 of the CRPC, read with article 226 of the Constitution. However, the same would not apply where the nature of offence is very serious, like rape, murder, robbery or dacoity. In Rampal versus State of Haryana, the Supreme Court held that the compromise between victim and offender has no direct impact or relevance to the court's approach of deciding the matter. Further, as held by the Apex Court in the case of Parbathai Ahir versus State of Gujarat, the power of the High Courts are limited in this aspect. So in the state of Madhya Pradesh versus Madan Lal are other cases in which the Supreme Court held that in the case of rape or attempt to rape, the conception of compromise under no circumstances can duly be a thought. So any compromise in rape cases between a rape victim and an offender compromises the woman's honor. In the cases of rape or attempted rape, the idea of compromise should not be considered because these crimes are against the body of a woman, which is her own temple. Rapist is a person whose mind is such that he can even rape a woman. Even in some cases, rapists usually suffer from behavioral and physiological disorders, and they are observed to be of aggressive tendencies because of their upbringing conditions. Thus, it is highly unlikely that the rapist would change their behavior even after the crime has been committed. So these tendencies are cognitive and are present in nature. So there can be exceptions where the rapist repents the crime and marries the victim with honest intentions as a sign of guilt, but this cannot, however, be used as a general assumption and established as a standard for the court judgment. Moreover, even if the person truly repents, he should not be left unpunished by the law when his crime is retributive in nature. One cannot escape prosecution simply because he shows remorse for his crime. This would permit all of those who plead guilty in court and accept their acts to be left free from implications. India clearly does not look forward to such a situation, and therefore it would be a severe injustice if such a judgment were to be taken as a precedent for cases to come. Thank you so much.